Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop in Grand Bay, New Brunswick, Canada. As you might expect, we get lots of questions about dovetails. One is, why is the offset method where we use a dovetail marking knife with a sawtooth blade better than the traditional method of tracing with a knife? Let me show you. I'm going to take my board, my pin board, and put it in the vise so that it's standing plumb. That's why I use this thing called a dovetail square. I'm going to take my dovetail that I've already cut. This is the old way. We would have already removed the waste. I've got a tape wall. Put that in place. I'm going to take my dovetail marking knife and I would go in and I would carefully trace around each tail, leaving a nice thin mark in the end grain of the pin board. Now the real hard part became right now. Where do I start my cut? And the older you get, the harder this is. You know that if you get too close to that line, it'll end up being too thin, meaning your pin will be too thin and it'll be a loose fit. If you're too far away, it's going to be too thick. You're either going to have to pare it or risk having it split. Either way, it was difficult to do. Well, contrast that with this. Start with a fresh piece. Flip this over. Again, set that board in there so it's standing plumb. Now, before I remove the waste, I've already made my cuts. Got my tape wall on. Set this in place. These two pieces are standing at the same height. Take my dovetail marking knife with the sawtooth blade and something called a shim. We have to use that to determine the offset. In this case, it's 24 thousandths of an inch. So we push the top board or the tail board over by the thickness of a saw blade. Come in with that knife, which happens to be the same size as my dovetail saw. So when you put it down inside that curve, it cannot move left or right. It is held in place and you get a very precise mark. Now, if I move my tail board that way, I go that side of the tail, which means if I do it for this one, I'm going to do it for this one. And because of time, I'm only going to do a few of these. Now, I will show you, and I go do the other one as well. When we do the other side of it, we have to flip it over like this and move the tail board that side by the thickness of a saw curve and go in, mark the opposite side, drag that through. Now, when you're done, when it comes to making the cut, you simply push the saw into the existing curve. There's no guesswork. And now all you have to do is focus on the plumb cut, and this part of it will be perfect every time. If you want to improve your dovetails, check this out. It really works.